Hello loves, welcome to the Subdial Show. I'm Mitch, your pilot on this intimate journey into watchmaking, design, art and community. Now before we jump into this episode, I want to thank you for trusting me with your time and attention. It truly means the world to me and I promise to do everything in my power to make this show as good as it can be. But for now, it's just you, me and our guest for this episode, Charles Tremblay, CEO and co-founder of watch accessory brand Charles Simon. Now Charles Simon builds the best watch boxes and accessories in the world. And it isn't a brand built around nostalgia or noise. It's about intent and raw engineering, design, and a belief that the things we surround ourselves with should be built thoughtfully, deliberately, and without compromise. I wanted to speak to Charles about what it means to build a brand from scratch today, about working as a partnership rather than a singular vision, and about the quiet confidence it takes to let engineering lead the conversation. We talk about problem solving, about restraint, about designing watch accessories and luggage that reveal themselves over time rather than all at once. This is a conversation about modern engineering, about purpose, and about why the most interesting ideas often come from refusing to take the easy route. Let's get into it.
And in between two rooms where it was partying all night, you know? Okay, we're gonna do just the best we can, whatever the price will. You don't have to say the price. You don't have to say anything. You feel it. You know, it feel expensive, but you know what you're paying for. So you push very far, like all the elements that you don't see, which make it very difficult. Actually, I didn't go to the NASA headquarters because I was not allowed to. So it was in an hotel close to the Cap Canaveral site in Florida. So I could not be on the main site. You know, it was not possible.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it was a little bit, I guess, overwhelming. But I think I had 25 time. It was kind of my first assignment. I was teaching designers on CAD, computer assist design, and like that was like a pretty interesting experience to be true. I wasn't prepared to that.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff were they going to be designing on CAD? Like obviously rockets, all this kind of stuff?
I had a guy, like the funny thing, I had a guy in my class. The class was usually 2 weeks. I did a few. And then I remember a guy around close to 70 years old. Okay. So he had seen quite a bit of, old school drawing made by hand, and he told me that when he started as an attorney, what do you say that? Stagiaire, as a student, first assignment, he was helping on the small vehicle that went on the moon.
Oh yeah, like the lunar rover. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
So he worked on that. That was his first assignment, like with a team, of course. He was a young engineer, and he was like close 70 at the when he was taking my class. But I was like a bit like something very interesting, I guess. Fun fact that I always remembered.
That's so cool.
That experience.
So you're teaching these NASA engineers and designers. How come you didn't pursue that career path? You're a recently graduated engineer and you had this opportunity to connect with NASA. Isn't that somewhere that you would like to go?
Well, not really. I was more interested by a Formula One. That was my goal as a student, as an engineer student. That was, I wanted to go in the car industry, mainly racing industry. But it was complex because I'm Canadian and most of it is in Europe. So you need visa to work in Europe. There's a lot of young engineers that apply to Formula One teams, which I did. But there's so many good CV. So I guess they discard for some reason, like you don't have a working visa, so it's a bit complicated. So they don't consider you, especially as a young engineer. I guess if you have like 10 or 20 years experience, it's another story. But to start was tough. So that was my goal. NASA was kind of an accident. Like it was a Dassault system software that I was training on. Dassault didn't add the people to do that assignment. They had a big office in Montreal, and they hired us as I was in a consulting firm. They assigned me like the Thursday to be there on the Monday. No clue about like the material. I was quite good on the software, but like I need to go through all the material, what they need to learn, the exercise and stuff for quite a complex stuff. So it was challenging. And I remember like arriving in Florida over the weekend, probably Sunday, I guess. It was the spring break time. So it was in a motel close to the beach, Cap around Florida. It was partying. I was a room, and in between two rooms where it was partying all night, you know? And I was trying to learn and to understand what I had to train on the Monday morning, you know?
Yeah.
It was like such a weird experience, but like a truly a good experience.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Why engineering in the first place? Like, were you interested in building things when you were a kid, or?
Yeah. I always had some interest in creating stuff. I remember I've designed with a friend like a bicycle, you know, with a kind of a slow snowmobile tracks, two wheels at the end with a ski at the front. Like I don't know, 13 years old. You can buy that now, but I have picture of that like in early 90s. You know? I was always interested, and I did first class I did in mechanical engineering was to become a technician. It's a 3-year class. So you're more hands-on on the machine, the materials, you build stuff. And then I decided I wanted to go further in mechanical engineering, which I moved from Quebec City to Montreal to do ETS, École de Technologie Supérieure. And what was my goal going there was to be in the Formula student or Formula SAE, which is a club where you have a book rules. You have to design a race car, open wheel race car. At the time, it was like CC motor bikes. That was the engine. Quite impressing performance for the car. So I went there with that mindset of being in that club and doing that. So I was like studying as it was necessary to pass the class, but I was like putting most of my time in that club over 40 hours a week, like over the course of most of my 4 years in DS. And that it's where I met Simon, my partner in Charles Simon. So Charles is my first name, Simon is his first name. That's where the brand come from. And we met at university and in the Formula.
So you both worked on the same car?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's very cool. Where did the idea come from to start Charles Simon as a brand? Like, did it just come naturally for both of you, or did you have the idea first, or did Simon have the idea first? And how did that conversation happen?
Yeah. So when we were at university, I graduated in 2004. So 21 years ago. Simon graduated a little bit later of me because he started a little bit later. And then we went about 10 years, 12 years in the industry as a consultant for me, Simon in the aerospace industry, building communication satellite. But we kept our friendship. We were seeing each other doing climbing, inside climbing mainly to see each other once a week for many years. And in my late job, the last job I had, I was managing a business unit for a consultant firm in Europe. I was based in Paris. I was traveling a lot. Like every week, I was in traveling around Europe. Could be to meet people at Volkswagen. We had consultant at Volkswagen, Bentley Motors, Saab, Michelin tires, Michelin tires, Airbus, whatever. So we had like a bunch of consultants. I was managing about 120 consultants in my team, and I was traveling a lot. And I remember the exact time I was in Belgium at the train station where I had that kind of idea about luggages, because we didn't start with watch accessories. We started with carry-on luggages, and that idea of very high quality, disturbing carry-on luggages was keeping coming into my mind for weeks after that idea came at the first place. And I remember I was in Paris. I was called Simon just to take some news, and I told him about my idea, and we talked again maybe 3 weeks after that, and for him it was the same. It was keeping coming in his mind that idea of reinventing, redesigning carry-on luggage of very high quality, very well engineered. And it's where like we kind of say, "Oh, it's something that even we don't have any money to really invest and to we're not backed by anybody. It's a project that we think we can make happen and we can do with our expertise, experience, with some people we know, and it's where all I've started. And that was in like 2000. Like the idea was in 2013, but we started the company 2014, late 2014. But started working on a project in 2000, early 2015. So it's 10 years from that. 10 years back.
And how did you, like, because you look at people like, for example, like James Dyson, who is an engineer and an inventor that creates the Dyson vacuum cleaners, and he focuses on such a broad market, right? Like everyone has a vacuum cleaner. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody needs one. Everyone knows how annoying it is to change the bag in the vacuum cleaner. So he develops the cyclonic. Were you thinking about the economics of the high grade luggage at that point? Like obviously it seems like quite a small market. Was that something you were concerned about, or were you more focused on, I want to make something incredible?
Of course, like we had some numbers in mind and we wanted business of it, and we did our calculation, we did the business plan, we did some market research, and the numbers was making sense. And but it was not the main reason why we started Simon. The main reason was to really create an awesome high quality product without boundaries, without like, okay, we're gonna do just the best we can, whatever the price will be. And it's
I
where
love that.
and it's where like because of that it brings us to luxury side, but the intention was not to do a luxury luggage. It was to create just a very high quality, disturbing, well designed, aesthetically, technically luggage. That was the idea, and we wanted to do that. That was the first driver, to create something high quality. We could not think of doing something average or poor quality just because there's a market, or we
It's not in your blood. Yeah.
no, we always strive for the best. It's a kind of purist thinking about what something could be. As good can we create something, as far can we go.
Yeah. This is a more kind of engineering and design question, but I'm always interested. You want to make something that's got very little compromise, right? But in terms of luggage, if you want to make something, out of aluminium or wood and leather, there's going to be a compromise with weight and potentially a little bit of usability. How do you juggle those two
Well, you
together?
have to optimize everything
Mm,
else
yeah.
to be able to have very high quality material that you see, like leather and wood and aluminium. So carbon structure, very optimized, like, so you push very far like all the elements that you don't see, which make it very difficult because there's some elements are very complex to design a luggage. So it's the weight, of course, the capacity. So you want to have the smaller, like the less weight possible, smaller weight possible, lightest luggage, the best capacity for like the external volume you have, and 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 those two things don't go together. It's the opposite. So to find ways is tough. And then you add to that the design aspect to look amazing. So we started with like a car. We started with the industrial design with a friend, Cal Godin, which is a close friend that we met at university that did mechanical engineering, that was in the club with us. But he studied, he finished mechanical engineering. He worked, I don't know, 3-4 years, and then he go back to school in the industrial design. So we hire Pascal to help us through a year and a half to find the Charles Simon aesthetic and DNA, working with Pascal. And so no compromise on the design, on the aesthetic. So the engineering needed to be to make the design happen, which is very complex.
I read about a lot of car design and car engineering and stuff, and it seems like there's always a fight between the engineering or the aerodynamics guys and the design guys. Like
Yeah. or
You
aesthetic
have,
and engineering
yeah,
or cost at some point also.
yeah, yeah. No, for
So
sure.
yeah.
And how does the luggage lead you to watches? Like, were you a watch guy originally, or?
Not really, actually. I'm not a collector. Well, I don't consider myself a collector, even and now I have a few watches, not very significant, except one that is coming from my grandfather. Is it's a personal value. Uh, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, but so we start Chelsea in 2014. We start working on the brand and the luggages in 2015. We worked 4 years in the development of two luggages in a briefcase that we launched in 2019, second half of the year, with some good success in terms of PR action, good market interest, I would say. So we were just going into from functional prototype to the manufacturing phase. So there's a some engineering. So you have a functional prototype, but you need some optimization to produce it in kind of
Yeah, in
some
mass numbers.
yeah,
Well, not
well,
not so much mass, but in,
no,
you
but
know, yeah,
so it is efficient. You have some cost gain. You need that. So we were at that phase, and then in 2020, you remember, COVID hits, starting in Asia, Europe, and here in North America afterwards. Like the traction just go to zero, nothing, because of, like we were talking about luggages, travel was just stop, retail was stop. So it was not like the best timing to launch Charles Simon, the brand and the product. We had took 4 years to develop, and it happened at the same moment. We had the carry-on luggage with retractable wheels that is just amazing. We had another carry-on luggage without wheels, lighter and smaller, and we had that briefcase, which is the Mackenzie. But that briefcase was just a business briefcase. Put your laptop, some files, some pen. That was the end. Then was like the three pieces we had into our collection at the first place. Launch the brand and to but client came to us, heard about Chelsea Mo, saw us on the internet, and said, "I really love actually the design of the Mackenzie. But what I want to do is to put watches into the case, into the brief. Could you do that?" So we said, "Of course we can do that." So we can do that. So that guy is name is Alexandre Meersen. Alexandre Meersen is Meersen Watches. So it's a brand, still exists. And Alexandre was basically doing bespoke watches, so dialed for unique client. So he was meeting quite a few people, showing the different models, the possibilities. So he a briefcase to present his collection, his watch, his work. And it's how in early 2020 we kind of shifted by that coincidence, I would say, in that space, in that world. And when that happened, we said, okay, luggage won't happen because it's COVID, and let's redo the website because it was not very good, our website at the time. So we're gonna redo our website. Let's do it on Shopify. Let's keep the luggage, add the watch case, and we had developed in that course also. We started the development of a toiletry case, which is the Eaton that became the Eaton 3 for 3 watches. So we had the Mackenzie watch case for 12 watches and the Eaton 3. And it's how kind of shifted from travel accessories and luggages to watch accessories.
yeah. So you really followed what the market wanted, really. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. In that case,
yeah.
yes. Yes. It's not nice. Like I was not the collector that. No, it's not that. It came from the needs from one client and then another one, and then it's starting to grow and grow and grow.
Well, it was probably the perfect time for that because over when COVID started, the watch or the secondary market exploded. Everybody was on Instagram and on online to research this kind of thing. So I think it's probably the perfect timing for you guys.
I guess we benefited of that timing. Like at that time, it was not crazy. We were selling like I think the first year, 2020, maybe we sold two Mackenzie and 4 or 5 Eaton 3. That was it. That was our year. That was the full year. It's
And how many travel cases were you selling before that? Like maybe a couple of years before
that
that.
was pre-orders because we did yeah, it was pre-order, so we were passing from working prototype to manufacturing. But like we kind of and interest dropped. So we said to the client, do you want to keep your order in or you want a reimbursement because we don't know when we're going to be able to do it. So we kind of put that project, all the luggage, on hold for some time, and it's still on hold. We still have the working prototype, like everything. Because the traction was good on watch accessories, we decided to focus. We are a young business. It's tough in the luxury market. We are competing with the brands that are known. You know, when a collector, an individual wants to buy a watch case and he has the money and he wants something very qualitative, most of people will search by brand. I want a Goya, I want a Louis Vuitton, I want a Hermes, etc. So it's hard to compete with those guys to to make Charles Simon known as a true luxury brand. And I can tell, and I know you know that, but the quality we do, there's no equivalent on the market. We're doing better than so, but it's tough to make it known.
Yeah, and I guess without people actually getting their hands on it, it's so hard for them to feel it. I guess on that point, there's one aspect of the Mackenzie in particular that I really love. It's the hinge of the Mackenzie, the lid that opens up. You guys develop all of those kind of very intricate mechanical pieces in house. What's that process like? So when you're developing the Mackenzie case, is there a kind of a certain feel that you want the lid to have? Like when you click it closed, is that something that you guys engineer, or do you produce the function first and then work it out later?
Function first. So we wanted to have something that is very, very sleek. So it's minimalism design. We wanted to avoid latches, big button, like visual pollution on the case. So that's why we came up with the opening button that are the the three pad code that you push on the wheels of the code directly. That's the button. That's the main reason. So we develop all that from scratch to have that functionality. And the way we design, we do industrial design, engineering in house, and we do all the assembly. Of course, we have suppliers that provide piece and parts, but it's our design, it's our drawing, it's our tolerances, it's our engineering. And that way you can innovate. That way you can do different from anybody else. There's no limit.
And there's no other brand that has the background that you guys have either. Like the aeronautical stuff, the engineering stuff, is that why you chose the materials you chose, like Simon's or aeronautical engineering background? Is that where the aluminium stuff comes, or was it just a material that made complete sense for the products?
I would say both plus the aesthetic of it. Yeah, we really like also like the design is driving a lot. The aesthetic of the product is driving a lot. And when you put anodized aluminum aside with leather, with the right balance of colors and the right balance of surfaces, it feels right. It feels beautiful. And it's a good material to work with. It's light, it's sturdy, it's functional. You can machine it the way you want to integrate mechanism and stuff. You can push very far. The Mackenzie structure is full carbon fiber structure, you know. So, and that we do in house with our own mold and stuff. So we produce that in house to have the exact specification we need for the Mackenzie, the right thickness, the right rigidity.
It reminds me of like a brand like Koenigsegg, the car maker. They make everything from the carbon shells and all the switch gears and all that kind of stuff. It really has a lot of parallels to that. How do you, like, obviously the price point of these is above kind of a Louis Vuitton or a Hermes or a Goyard case.
No.
Do you get...
Well, yes and no. Actually, Hermes, I saw recently an Hermes box, which is a wooden box covered with leather marquetry. It's well finished. It's Hermes. Of course, it's beautiful, but it's not rocket science, okay? And it's like over the price of a Mackenzie, 12.
Well, okay, interesting.
It's the brand,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And
big brand, Charles Simon is not yet there. Maybe it's gonna be in 50, 100 years. Who knows? Hopefully sooner than later. But
yeah,
so I would say that we you get much more for your dollar in a Chalsimo product that you get in the
Mm.
big luxury brand. Much more.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's also because you guys don't have this massive history or this heritage that you have to abide by. Like you get Goyard or Louis Vuitton has to be built a certain way, built in a certain place. Like you guys have total freedom to do
Of
whatever you
course.
like.
Yeah.
When you have a customer that's comparing a Charles Simon, like a Mackenzie and an Hermes case, how do you talk to them and what are some questions that they have for you
It
to
it
help them decide between the two?
it really depends on the culture and background of the client, the customer. Um, when you put a McKinsey in hands of somebody that no luxury, no quality, you don't have to say the price. You don't have to say anything. You feel it. It feel expensive, but you know what you're paying for.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you take a box of Louis Vuitton for watches, it feel a little bit cheap. To be very
Yeah.
brutal, it feels cheap. But you're paying for the brand. And if you want to resell it, you're gonna get some customer that want it. On the second market, it's easier. It's like you're buying whatever watch brand, independent watch brand that you like, but it's gonna be a little bit. Maybe you're gonna lose a little bit more that if you bought a Rolex, whatever. They very common.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about the same.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any views to increase production exponentially, or is your growth very, very slow? Like, obviously, there's a lot of handcrafted components in the cases. How do you see you growing in the future?
Yeah, from I would say that in the last 2 years and this year, we have a organic growth of 35% year over year.
Yeah.
It is fast, but we're still very small.
Hmm.
But it's manageable, and because of our background, like we have a few engineer in the team, manufacturing responsible engineer. Simon is engineer. I'm an engineer. We have engineer student. No, you have like pretty much half of the team have an engineering background or technician at least, and the people that are artisan, they have a huge knowledge. They are the best of the best. So we put together um, software thing that you see in much bigger businesses to track what we do, inventory, piece by piece, material, etc. And the reason we've done that in an early stage is because we're doing about 45% of bespoke order, personalized pieces. So it's complex to make sure that you don't make mistakes. I want Mackenzie with small cushion, that color of interior, my name here, that code, that letter, that Alcantara, wooden and all. You need to track all that through the process of order to the delivery and make sure that the client receive what he wanted.
Yeah.
So that's why we are very organized in how we do things internally.
Is that an engineering thing in general? Like most engineers are very organized and know what they're doing.
I guess so. We kind of re-implement things that we've seen in our career before Simon, tweak it for our needs. Like so we use like we have like maybe you don't know, but we use Odoo software for inventory, RP, CRM, etc. Software that you can use to build a car. And all our product CAD designed. Even if it's a leather product, it's all CAD, 3D, computer assist, blah.
It's incredible. In terms of materials again, so we've got aluminium, leather, carbon fiber, Alcantara, and the wood was something that has a really nice story to it. Can you explain where most of your
Yeah.
wood comes from?
In some cases, for visible wood that we use, it's very particular. So we use historic wood that we source here in Canada that was cut about 150 years ago. In that era, there was a huge exploitation of forest in Canada. So they were cutting trees during the winter, using horses and sleigh to bring the trunk on lake and rivers. So it was easier because you have snow, the lake are frozen, etc. And the horses can work much easier. At spring, you have the log when the ice melt and the snow melt. So the rivers and the lakes, of course, the level of water is increasing, and now you can drive the wood through the rivers and the lakes through the sawmills. Sometimes, like it could be 100 kilometers at that time. It's something that doesn't exist anymore. We don't do that anymore here. But at that time, it was like million trunk of wood that was driven like that in the big period of like I don't know the like second half of the 1850 to 19, you know, was like that the big period till I would say 1950 around. So that was the big era. So some of the wood that was piled on lake and was sunken into the mud or the sand in the lake and the rivers. So today we have some partner, some artisan that dive into those lakes and they go pick up some trunk with bars and crane and they remove it. Sometimes they are like quite big. You know, it's would be I don't know 4, 5, 6 meters long, 50, 60, 70 centimeters in diameter. So we take that wood, we slice it in planks, let it dry for about 3 years because they are like seeking in deep water for 150 years. And because it's in the mud and there's not much oxygen in that, in some cases, the wood doesn't rotten. It stays. Sometimes you have sediment that uh, give some colors on the wood, but it's the wood that we use on our product. So it's Canadian wood that was logged 150 years that we reuse to some element to do some element, some aesthetic element in our product, which is I think quite cool. We don't cut trees, and we have like that story that is super interesting. I think we have an
That's nice.
article on our website on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll pop that in the notes below as well. Is there any technical benefit for having timber that's been soaking for so long? Like, is it a structural stability that comes along with it?
There's a few things. The wood that was growing in that period was growing slower than today. It was like the winter was colder, so the wood is a little bit more dense. So yes, you have a little bit more stability. Um, you don't cut wood, which is interesting for us. Um, and more or less, it's about that. You know, it's still wood. You know, it doesn't change the wood that much. It's a little bit more dense. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of I've heard that being used in guitar making a little bit as well because of that density. It kind of vibrates a little bit better.
Yeah, and it changed also because like the sap of the wood is replaced by water through the course of the couple of first years. So it changed a little bit, like how the wood react, and when you dry it, also air dry for 3 years. You know, you have very stable wood.
Yeah, oh, that's amazing. I won't take up too much more of your time, but I've just got one
Ah, go ahead.
more question that I would love to ask you, and it's not related to watch cases or Charles Simon. But if you had unlimited resources, is there a specific technical engineering challenge that you would love to work on?
Formula One.
Formula One. Yeah. So would you'd start your own team, or you'd
Well, it's I
unlimited
don't
resources?
Yeah. Well, we'd have to a lot of good, more brilliant than me people, but y- yeah, it's something that is very interesting to go that at that level of engineering. I always liked to race cars because of that. You know, everything needs to be perfect. You need to. It's that level of detail. You push so far, and it goes very fast. What is interesting about Formula One in comparison to aeronautic, which I've worked most of my career on. Like I've started at the NASA, but I've worked on Bombardier. I've worked on Pratt and Whitney. So
Hmm.
I work at Airbus as well as a consultant at those different companies. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to work in cars for cars or in that industry. It didn't happen for whatever reason. But the difference between aeronautic is it's a very high level of complexity and refinement in terms of engineering. You get the same in Formula One basically, but in Formula One, the pace you evolve, you change things. It's super fast over the course of a week, a weekend, a month. You know, you can make evil thing. In aeronautic, it's completely the opposite. I remember working at Pratt& Whitney. We wanted to change just a drill bit to drill holes in titanium pieces, and to get the like just it's the same drill. The coating is different, just the coating of the drill. But you need like to do some testing, get some approval, and etc. by different department, etc. You have like at least 6 months, if it's not a year, of testing procedure, etc., etc. It's so it goes very slow, especially in the engine. Probably when it's doing uh, jet engines, it's critical.
Well, I guess yeah. If you they have to perform for a long period of time and to a high degree of safety, whereas I guess Formula One is we make it as fast as possible for the race and then we fix it next time, kind of.
Yeah, it's performance, performance, performance. Of course, there's safety elements that
Of course,
need
yeah,
to be there, especially in like we go back, I don't know, 50 years ago was not the same. But I guess right now, and since quite many years, Formula One is quite a safe car. But yeah, it's the level of engineering and the pace of it. I guess if I had like chance to do that, and in another life, I guess I'm too old for
yeah.
that now. But
Oh, you've still got time. You've still got time.
yeah, but yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, but I think we have like many fun years to come in with Chelsea Mo, and we enjoy like everything we do. So it's gonna be that for the next I don't know, 10, 15 years, I guess.
Yeah, I love it, and I think yeah, maybe the opportunity to sponsor an F1 team one day.
Maybe it's something that people don't really know, but like Chelsea Mo, we of course we have the brand Chelsea Mo that is visible, that we sell our accessories, but we also work with watch brand and other type of company in other area to create some private or white label product for them. So, and some are sponsoring Formula One teams and
Yeah,
drivers.
yeah. We won't talk about that too much.
Well, it's not like now that some product are available, and it's
People
not
know.
like a big secret, but yeah, we won't mention it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Good to chat.
Pleasure. Thank you, Mitch.